Tonight, mother and daughter murdered.
She's a sweet person. She's a very, very good mother. So it has to be somebody close to her.
Could it happen here?
You're dancing in a club and there's blaring music and lights, and it might take you a minute or 30 seconds to realize that there's anything going on. And that minute or 30 seconds is an incredibly critical time.
The news is now. Hello, I'm Tamsa Vidal. Now your Pix11 at 10. It's one of the saddest stories from Hurricane Sandy, now 3 months after the storm, and for the very first time, a Staten Island woman is talking about the tragedy that she suffered. Erica Pizzi has this Pix11 exclusive tonight. Erica.
In the days after Superstorm Sandy slammed into Staten Island, we came to find out nearly 24 people died, including 3 children, 2 young boys and a teenage girl. Tonight, a mother, the sole survivor of one family who succumbed to Sandy's wrath, is speaking out only to Pix11 for the first time since she lost her husband and her daughter in the storm. Her arms bear the scars from the night Superstorm Sandy took her house, her husband, her daughter.
And then all of a sudden a wave came and just took me. And I floated away. I watched the houses all spin. And I just floated. And I was out there and I'm praying and I'm crying and debris is coming all around me and I'm just trapped in it and I'm just pulling it off of me. And then hours later, I don't know how long it was, I just landed on land.
Like many Staten Islanders, Pat and George Dresch decided to ride out Sandy in the waterfront house they called home for nearly 20 years. When the storm started to get serious that night, Pat huddled with her 13-year-old daughter Angela in the second-floor bathroom, hoping to be protected from the rising water and whipping winds.
I don't want to tie Mommy home. I'm scared.
The strength of Sandy's surge turned out to be too much, and the house started to collapse. That night, Pat says the roof blew off first. That's when her daughter was ripped from her arms.
Something slid and hit us in the head from the roof. I guess part of the roof came off. And we went under, and I lost her immediately. And I knew she was gone. I knew she was gone. I knew she was dead. I knew she was gone. The water was too high.
She could hear her husband George yelling for her, for Angela. Images of that horrifying night haunt her dreams every day.
I had a dream I was on a train and the water came up and the train is tumbling and I'm in there tumbling, and I woke up, I was holding her pillow, and I woke up screaming and crying.
Police found the bodies of Pat's husband and daughter buried under the rubble. Her husband taken just before their 30th wedding anniversary, her daughter taken much too young.
Every day I think of her. I talk to her, I talk to him. That's all I can do.
As hard as life is for Pat, she says she just takes every day as it comes. She is back to work as a teacher of religious studies at the area church here in Tottenville, which is really a community that has just wrapped its arms around her in support. She said if it weren't for this support system here, she doesn't know how she would have made it these past 3 months. We're on Staten Island tonight. Erica Pizzi, Pix11 News.
Erica, we're at the scene of a double murder in Englewood, New Jersey. Police believe a mother and a daughter were killed sometime yesterday. Today, many people are being questioned by police, and tonight there are still no arrests. Who would kill a mother and her 3-year-old daughter in their home, and why? Tanisha Pugh says she went to school with Tammy Pitts-Gaddy and says the 40-year-old Englewood woman lived for her little one named Natasha.
It's a sad situation, she didn't deserve nothing like this, and she wasn't even that type of a person to be involved in anything for anything like this to happen to her.
Detectives are working to answer those questions tonight on West Palisade Avenue in Englewood, New Jersey, where a childhood friend of the mother spoke with Pix11.
Because she's a good person. She's not in the street. She's not running around with different guys or anything like that. She's a sweet person. She's a very, very good mother. So it has to be somebody close to her.
Bergen County Prosecutor John Molinelli says this does not appear to be a random crime.
We believe it is someone that she knew. There was a response by Englewood Police to the scene, originally based upon a reported burglary. We do have several people that we know had access to the apartment, and I do believe it was someone that she did know.
The mother suffered multiple stab wounds. Police say her young daughter, Natasha, died of asphyxiation, adding her black garbage bag was found near her body.
I'd rather not get into what testimony that we have from neighbors and witnesses, but we had reason to believe that there were some prior issues inside the apartment.
Natasha Pugh says it's bad enough that her high school friend had to die so tragically and can't fathom why anyone would want to take the life of a young child.
You're lost for words in a situation like this. So the only thing I could do was pray and to send my prayers and condolences to the Pitts family and the Gaddy family.
We spoke with the superintendent for the Inglewood School District. He tells us that Natasha attended Quarles Elementary School and that grief counselors will be on hand tomorrow. We're also told by friends of the victim's family that young Natasha's father recently suffered not one, but 2 strokes, adding to the tragedy that has struck this family and that he is in and out of consciousness. Again, this investigation is still underway and there are no arrests tonight. We are live in Englewood, New Jersey. Jay Dow, Pix11 News. Now let's toss it back to Marvin Scott, who's in the newsroom.
Jay, Ed Koch remains hospitalized tonight, having been readmitted yesterday with fluid on his lungs and complaining of shortness of breath. The 88-year-old former mayor had been scheduled to be on hand tonight for the premiere of Koch, the movie, at the Museum of Modern Art.
Good morning, I'm Ed Koch and I'm running for mayor and I need your help. How am I doing?
The 94-minute documentary is a portrait of Koch's legacy as a politician, as well as a revealing look at his personal life. The turnout was a reunion of former Koch staff members and political figures aspiring to follow in his footsteps, perhaps looking to learn a lesson or two from the 3-term mayor. Among them, Republican candidate Joe Lhota, Democratic frontrunner, City Council President Christine Quinn.
You know, I think there's a bunch of lessons we can learn from Ed Koch. One, every problem has a solution, and even the biggest problems, like a massive fiscal crisis, can be solved if we all come together. Ed Koch showed us that.
You have to get the attention of the public. You got to get them to follow you, and you can only do that by being bigger than life.
Public advocate Bill de Blasio, who just announced he's in the mayoral race, also walked the red carpet. Documentary director Neil Barsky said doing the film was a work of love.
My goal was that we show who he is, good and bad, but by the end, there's a real affection.
Whenever I would fly home, there was the city of New York laid out before me. And I thought to myself, this belongs to me.
Shut up, will you, and let me talk to these people?
I knew that of all those who were running, I knew more than they did.
Former staff members remembered Ed Koch as a hands-on guy who certainly was tough.
He was demanding, but he was, fair. And so what I liked about working for Ed Koch was he liked to argue. Bobby Wagner once said it's like working in a Jewish kitchen.
He was tough. I like arrogant, no, I shouldn't say arrogant. I like aggressive Jewish men. So I found him.
200 invited guests felt the film truly captured the essence of Ed Koch.
People tonight need to start remembering the hands-on leadership, the forceful leadership. He was never willing to say die when this city was up against the wall.
People would say, oh, you must run again, you must run again. And I would say, no, people threw me out, and now the people must be punished.
And the documentary Koch opens to the public for an exclusive engagement Friday at the Angelica Cinemas on Houston Street and the Lincoln Plaza on Broadway. It'll be widely distributed later on in other cities. As for Ed Koch, tonight he's under the watchful eye of doctors, said to be resting comfortably. Tamsin.
All right, Marvin, thank you. We certainly do wish him well. All right, one day removed from the deep freeze, and we are now on the verge of getting some near record heat and maybe some serious storms. Let's get over to Mr. G in the Weather Center tonight. Hey there, G.
All right, Tamsin, a lot going on in the next 24 hours. First, got a high wind watch Wednesday evening through late Wednesday night. The city announcer in Suffolk County, Monmouth up to Fairfield County. A lot of rain is heading our direction. That's why there's a flash flood watch. Same period from Orange all the way down to Middlesex and Monmouth. Not finished yet. In terms of this storm, look at the mild air in front of the storm. Look at the cold air behind it. The spread is some 30-40 degrees. And when these air masses collide, bang, you get wicked thunderstorms. And this whole mess is moving in our direction. Also, tornado watches are flying. You see portions of western Kentucky and also western portions of Tennessee. The amount of rain that we're looking at is probably going to be about an inch, perhaps 2 inches. And that's going to be on a frozen ground. So that water is just going to run off like a table possible. And Wednesday, we're counting on the rain to get in here in the afternoon. At night is the flash point from 8 p.m. on for heavy rain, possible power outages as winds gust to 60, and then temps tumble around here on Thursday. Your Friday, your weekend, your next 7 days coming up later on. Tamsin?
What a week, G. Thank you. We'll check in a little bit. All right, now to the latest on the Pix11 news desk tonight. The ex-con wanted for violently mugging Asians in East Harlem is off the streets right now. His name is Jason Camiso. He was arrested on a Greyhound bus heading for Texas. Well, cops have been hunting him after 8 attacks over the past few weeks. They say he followed Asian men and women into their apartment buildings, and once he got them inside the elevator, he repeatedly punched them in the face and then robbed them and took off. Queens police are still searching for 3 men tonight who murdered a gay rights activist. Lou Rispoli was beaten to death on a Sunnyside street back in October. Today, council member Van Bramer and the victim's husband handed out sketches of the suspects. Witnesses saw 2 men walk up to the victim at the time, say something, then hit him in the head with an object. A third person stood watch. There is a $22,000 reward tonight. Well, this story certainly has a lot of people shaking their heads tonight. Pro-gun activists heckled the father of a little boy who was shot and killed in the Newtown massacre. Take a look at this. This is Neil Heslin testifying at a hearing in Hartford last night.
I ask if there's anybody in this room that can give me one reason or challenge this question, why anybody in this room needs to have one of these assault-style weapons or military weapons or high-capacity clips. Now, one person can answer that question or give me an answer.
All right, so here's the abridged version. So listen to this. Heslin didn't question legality. He didn't call for a ban. He asked why anybody needs an assault rifle, and 2 different people thought it'd be a good idea to scream about the Second Amendment at the time. All right, some security video to show you tonight. It shows a Staten Island woman just hours before she vanished in Turkey. Sarai Sierra can be seen eating lunch and walking through a mall near her hotel. The 33-year-old mother of 2 is vacationing alone in Istanbul. Apparently, she was staying in a pretty dangerous part of the city. Her husband, who rushed to Turkey, was interviewed today by police trying to find her. The voice of Charlie Brown is speaking out from jail tonight, but using his normal voice. Peter Robbins is accused of threatening his girlfriend and the doctor who gave her bigger breasts. Well, apparently Robbins paid for the surgery and wanted his money back.
Maybe there was a future for us. Turns out she just wanted to get a boob job, steal my car, steal my dog Snoopy, and get back to making love to her old boyfriend.
Okay, well, he sums it all up there. Cops say Robbins was waiting to receive a gun that he had bought and had practiced at a firing range. Robbins was 9 years old when he began doing the voice of Charlie Brown. A very fit, preserved, all-natural beauty. Well, that's exactly how 71-year-old Saigon Liebhart referred to herself in her prostitution ad. According to cops, Connecticut police say she promoted herself in the escorts section of Backpage.com wearing a blonde wig and going by the name Lola. Well, this older model was considered a deal as she would only charge customers up to $150 compared to some of the younger women who usually ask for double that, around $300. Major League Baseball might be smack in the middle of the biggest doping case since Balco a decade ago, and right there in the middle of it all, Alex Rodriguez. A newspaper report out of Miami tonight ties A-Rod to illegal performance-enhancing drugs purchased from an anti-aging clinic. Well, the clinic, which is now closed, was owned by Dr. Anthony Bosch. He is the son of the doctor who provided PEDs to baseball players in the past. The report says A-Rod and other baseball players bought cocktails of drugs from the doctor. Now remember, A-Rod admitted to juicing between 2001 and 2003, but this report suggests he was pumping himself full of testosterone and HGH as recently as last year. If it's actually true, A-Rod could be suspended for a very long time. In a statement, though, he denies everything and claims he is clean. All right, that is tonight. Tonight's top tweet topic is A-Rod done for? Is he the next Lance Armstrong, or is he innocent? And is this all just a witch hunt? If it's true, can you forgive him? Think about it. Should all the people on the list be kicked out of the big leagues? Tweet me. I'm at Tamsin Fidel. We want to hear what you have to say about it. And that is your Pix11 at 10. We'll be right back. Next, tunnel vision.
I cover the subways. I'm not afraid to get underground. This is about as deep as you can get.
Think again.
I love this new trend in constitutional scholars. You know, maybe it's time we rethink the Constitution. You know, maybe we should rethink. Yeah, I got an idea. Let's don't say we did.
School or prison?
It's offensive because, one, they're all young black men, and I don't feel that I should have to be concerned with a school seeming like a prison.